you don't want to be one of the cheap guys. I've said it before in junk removal. You got your top performing guys, and these are the guys that are considered professional, and you got everybody else. And the problem is when you're at the bottom and you're everybody else, literally the only thing you can do to separate yourself out from your competitors that are out there is cheaper, is you lower your price. So it's a complete race to the bottom when you're at the bottom. When you're up top, you're actually finding the best customers, because the best customers are going to go to the easiest place possible to find your business. So that's going to be Google, maybe Yelp, and they're not going to go way down on Google either. They're going to kind of make their way up top. And they're going to locate your business, and they're going to call you, and you're going to answer the phone because you're professional, and you're going to book the job. You're going to have a quick turnaround time because this is your full-time job. You've got enough trucks and enough people, and you're not going to miss out on very many good customers. So the professional guys are going to get the good ones. The really cheap guys at the bottom, the reason you don't want to be there is because the people that search for the cheap customers the cheap companies are cheap customers. So the guys going on Craigslist and finding most of their stuff on Facebook Marketplace or off of other lead sources, for the most part, are poor customers. Sometimes, not necessarily literally, but they're just very, very cheap. So you don't want to be at the bottom. You want to try and compete with people at the top. So what Google predicts from February 3rd, 2021 to February 2nd, 2022 is about 930,000 impressions throughout the United States. So if you see right here, impressions, 930,000. That's 930,000 searches for the keyword just junk removal, nothing else, and none of the other junk hauling keywords or anything like that. If we come over here to the historical metrics, and there is one thing I do want to change here. I want to change this over to a $15 click. This is actually going to raise up the impressions, I believe. Yep, all right, there we go. That's what I was looking for. 1.3 million. So 1.3 million searches for the keyword junk removal throughout the entire United States. That is that's what Google predicts over the next 12-month period. So if I come back to historical metrics, the last 12 months, there has been an average monthly search volume of 90,500. So if we do 90,500 times 12, the last 12 months, that's 1,086,000 last 12. And then it is 1.3 million next 12 is what they predict. So let's say essentially 214,000 additional searches. 214,000 additional searches, we divide that by 1,086,000. It's 19.7%. We might as well say a 20% increase in searches is predicted throughout the entire country. What that means is overall, that is a 20% increase year over year in volume, in search volume. So that's a 20% increase in demand for the junk removal industry year over year. And we have seen this, I've been tracking it probably the last 3 or 4 years. And that number has remained consistent on 20%. There's not a peak. It hasn't been growing. It's been at least the last 3 or 4 years, a 20% increase year over year.
All right, next question. Are the bigger companies outpacing the smaller companies through more keywords on their sites online?
So that's an excellent question. The larger companies that are focusing on Google Ads are going to have a greater budget that they can spend if they choose to. So there are keywords on Google Ads, and I'm talking mainly about Google Ads because that's the cost per click. On search engine optimization, no. The answer to yours is not really no, unless the larger company has just hired a company and they're spending more money where more is getting done and they're getting more links. They're building out more pages. You know, they can outpace, but if you're reasonably smart when it comes to SEO, and SEO is a time deal, you can learn SEO. If you're reasonably smart when it comes to SEO, you can, and you're hardworking, when you're not on the truck, when you're at home, you don't have jobs, or at night, whatever, you're working on your SEO, you can keep up with the big guys. There's nothing a big guy can do to outpace you once you've learned kind of what works, and you can learn it. On the Google Ads end of things, You've got ways of being very aggressive on ads, and you have ways of being less aggressive. So let's take a Junk Doctors. Junk Doctors is my junk removal business in North Carolina. We are very aggressive. Now, we won't always go after the number one spot. Oftentimes, we've actually found there's as much work for less money in number two, sometimes, and oftentimes even number three also. You have buyers that are going to buy at number one, you got buyers that are going to buy at number two, you got buyers that are going to buy at number three. You got some people that say that they're going to call the first person they're going to book with them. And you got others that say there's no way I'm going to book my first person because I don't feel like I've done my due diligence. So they call you, no matter how good you are on the phone, they don't schedule you. They go to the second person. They figure out, these two companies are real similar. They're very, very similar. I'm just going to book the second guy. That's who I have on the phone right now because the prices are similar, the way they operate, the availability is similar. Third company, same thing. You're going to have some people who are like, you know what, I'm not going to book my first two companies. I'm going to go to the third. And the nice thing is each time you work your way down, your cost is going down. All else being equal, your cost is going down. And I don't want to get a complete Google Ads breakdown right here, but quality score has a big thing to do with it. So if you work on your keyword quality scores, you can actually get a higher ranking for less money than some of your competitors. That'll go off. That's a completely separate subject right there to get into. The other part of it is you can go after single item pickups, couch removal, refrigerator removal, refrigerator appliance. That's a pretty common search for term. And these items, these single items, some of these single items are not very profitable. It's a minimum job. You'll probably actually lose money by doing those single item jobs. By the time you pay Google, by the time you go out, you pay your guys, wear and tear on the vehicle, fuel cost, disposal, you guys know all the expenses. By the time you pay all that, you'll actually have lost money on the single item jobs. These larger guys, and eventually to the point you want to get to, you want to target these single item pickups because you never know where a refrigerator pickup today leads to a whole home estate clean out for somebody's parents or somebody that's moving out tomorrow. So a lot of your larger companies, this is something Got Junk understands a lot. That's the reason Got Junk does these, or used to. I don't know if they still do. They used to do these mattress pickup days. That's one of the reasons. They do like a $25 or $30, I can't remember the price point, but it was like 25 or 30 bucks and they'd pick your mattress up if that's all you had. And what they would do though is they would schedule you out where they'd have a particular day where you'd pick up all these mattresses and they'd kind of go around on a route. They made some money on that if they got enough pickups, but what they knew is that mattress removal that day would allow them to collect that customer's contact information so they can send them an email campaign on a regular basis. It would allow them to get used to the company. It would allow them to give them a refrigerator magnet, or they used to do these, I don't think they do anymore, they used to do these little cool 1-800-GOT-JUNK foam trucks they would give out. Anyway, they would do all this stuff because they knew that person within the next 2 years on average was going to use them again, and for almost always it was going to be a much larger job. So that's the advantage of doing the small ones. When you first get started, you're probably not going to have the luxury, or there's a chance you're not going to have the luxury where you've got the ability to make less money off of ads, to potentially even lose money. So you start out being a bit more conservative, aiming for your junk removal keywords, your fence removal keywords, your hot tub removal keywords, your hoarder clean out, the stuff that's going to generate larger jobs. And as you make more money, you expand out your service area and you expand out the search terms to include more single item pickups. You get more aggressive. And then that's how you really exponentially scale your business, and that's how you outpace the newer guys that a lot of them won't do this strategy. They might start, they'll find something that works, or maybe it won't even work. They won't have the patience to allow it to work, and then they'll drop out.